So this week we've been looking at reasons that we need to take another look at the Bible, and I've talked about the fact that it's the best-selling, and I've talked about the outrageous claims it makes. I've talked about the fact that you may not actually know what it says, and then I also talked about the fact that that it provides us with answers to the first 6 questions. So I said all that in front of you. I have one last one that we're taking up. And that is, I want to suggest that you take another look at the Bible because it is a stable reference point in a world that is churning, in a world of chaos and change, in a world of instability. So I'm going to assume that you have noticed that there's a lot of crazy stuff going on out there, that there's a lot of disruption. There's a lot of frustration and confusion and anger and angst. There's a lot of reference points that seem to be absolutely up for grabs. So the question that you might ask is, what is going on? Well, the answer is increasingly obvious. We are having a knowledge crisis. We cannot agree on what we know or how we know it. To put a sharper point on all this, we cannot agree on what is real or how we establish what reality is. So this is a rather significant moment to be alive. There is this epistemic shift that is taking place in Western civilization to the extent that it's still Western civilization. It's a little bit more of a global village. So let's step back and look at this historically and gain some bigger perspective. This is not the first time that something like this has taken place. So there was, you could argue that it used to be that people knew what they knew much more through tradition. In traditional times, that was true. And then you could say that people knew what they knew through the Bible, so more revelation. And if we were going to track Western Civ, we could then say at some point, we're moving in, as we move through the Middle Ages, the church sort of asserts itself, and it's going to define, it's the priests and others that are reading the Bible, especially after we go through the Dark Ages, when people can't read, civilization sort of collapses, and so you've got the church telling people what to believe. And then you have, coming into the Renaissance and the Enlightenment, coming through that, you've got this big push towards reason and science and the scientific revolution. And you've got a big shift that takes place with the Reformation, moving away from sort of tradition, more towards revelation. There have been these shifts that have taken place at various times and in various ways through the past. But I want to note that what's going on right now, reason was sort of the big thing in my early life. And coming into my late 20s, we started to see much more of a shift towards post-reason, out of modernity into post-modernity. You can't speak with specificity about these things because there's a lot of moving pieces. And obviously, science and reason remains a big part of what's going on. But we've sort of moved increasingly into a more, I'm going to look inside myself and define what's true. And almost what I think theologically we would say is sort of a Gnostic moment, where it's what we think or knowledge that matters, not reality. The physical world can be overruled by the secret information. So all of that has taken place. And so I just want to say, look, one of the reasons to look at the Bible is because in this world of chaos and change, where affirming today what was understood to be true yesterday could get you canceled, right? Because it's crazy out there and everything is changing. I want to say to you, in that kind of a world, there is a harbor in the storm. There is a source of truth, of lasting truth, and there is a light into our path, a lamp into our feet, and it is the Word of God. So In the weeks ahead, we are going to be looking, starting in Genesis 1, we're going to look at the first 11 chapters of Genesis because this gives us a bedrock, an anchor, the bottom Jenga piece upon which everything else builds. And there's so much good stuff here. So we are going to be turning to Genesis 1 tomorrow. I hope you will stay with me. Have a good day.